to another piano lesson. Guess it's that time. Been practicing a little bit today. And so now, I guess, since you're here, we can pick up where we left off yesterday in our video on musical notation. So, okay, let's, I mean, it's still the weekend, so I think Saturday and Sunday I'm going to make shorter videos just so that there's not as much you can enjoy your weekends. You know, maybe Sunday night you can watch a movie. That's what I like to do. I do a little bit of work, but not as much. So let's take another look at the board here. And I'm just going to jump right in where we went yesterday. Normally in one of these lessons, like say tomorrow, Monday, I'll go a little longer and we can cover more. But since it's Sunday, I said, you know, we'll cover a couple music keys. Well, we'll probably just do one because we can do it really fast. So let's start with, first of all, what we learned yesterday. The treble clef and the bass clef. How do we draw the treble clef? Okay, so for you here, you start on your left and you go up and around, so you're going to make a loop like this. It kind of goes like that. And it's a spiral, so it's getting wider, and it comes around, and then when you get halfway, you turn the curve the other way, come all the way to this top line, then you curl down, and then you curl the other way, and you draw a little circle. This takes lots of practice for you to do it naturally. You'll see it though, every music you play, you'll see this written there, like right at the start of the bar. So if you're ever wanting something, like, it's great to be able to draw it if you're writing music, but mainly I want you to recognize this visually. The bass clef is a lot simpler in comparison. You make a little dot above this fourth of the bottom lines here, and then you curl up, and then you just come down right to sort of where this line, this second line here is. And then what you do is you put it's like a colon, so two dots on the spaces on either side of this fourth line from the bottom. Okay, so this is something important that we're going to see again and again in music. There are times where you'll see two treble clefs, but those are so special, like maybe they get like an advanced lesson. Or actually, so once I'm done this basics series, I have a few things that I'd like to cover. I'm just going to go on and start picking pieces that are worth teaching. And I'll go right through, like say take something like a Chopin etude. I'll do an intro video and then I'll break it down bar by bar and we'll pick it apart, we'll analyze it, we'll look at what challenges there are. And so when we do stuff like that, we're always going to start, I'll have my board and I will sometimes write out some of what's going on in the music, or I'll find a way to maybe print it extra big just for showing you here as we go along. So don't worry too much about these nuances. Just know when you're reading music about this treble clef, bass clef, when we have this labeled in this way, that means that this is a map of the piano, just like I told you in the previous lessons. So this kind of just tells you that the treble clef, remember that yesterday I mentioned, think of each of these lines and think of the middle one as being like the home bass, okay? So with the piano, I told you that home bass is middle C, right? Because that's like, or even just generally, all C's are like your home bass, but middle C is like right in the middle of the piano. You can get there, you can work your way around. Well, middle C on here would be kind of in the middle between these two lines. And so here's middle C. Well, this B, home bass for the treble clef, is the B right above middle C. So just to remember, B is always the note to the left of C. So if you can find a C, the B is right to the left of it. And I mentioned those like BC clusters and then the EF clusters, right? Once you got those, it's easy to quickly find all the remaining notes. So yeah, you go to the B above middle C, and now what happens is you skip a note on each side. So go to G and then to E. That would be these two lines below, and then going up D F. So you're on B D F. So that's what all these lines are. Quick way to know: the bass clef, its middle note, so it's home bass, is the D right below middle C. And it has the same principle. We go up, we skip a note each time, so F, A, right? So basically it makes like a chord. Remember with chords we had the first, third, fifth, right? Similar, well it is the idea of a chord, except it's just not necessarily in a given key. So that's what these lines are, and then likewise going down, right? So as you go down the sheet, you're going to the left, down to the low notes of the piano. Well, we would have B and G. So what we got is home bass is D, B, G below, F, A above, okay? And then middle C. So middle C would be 2 notes above, so that'd be this ledger line here. And likewise, if you're coming from here, the treble clef, middle C is the ledger line below. Okay. So yesterday we saw how D major, okay, we saw how D major has 2 sharps in it, going up the circle of fifths to G to D, right? And then I said, well, we can go further today. We can go to A major, right? Well, you can keep going up and adding sharps. But what does that look like on here? Well, the idea was that we would put the sharp, which is like a number sign, we would put it on the exact line or space that kind of represents that note. And we put it right at the start, and that's a key signature. So that means you can assume that every time you hit an F or a C, it's going to be sharp. That's what the key signature tells you. So for D major, we had F sharp, which was on this top line here, right? Because B is home bass, so 2 notes up, we get to F. All right, and then we had C sharp, which was it's kind of down by 4 notes from F here, right? So how do we figure that out quickly? Well, B is home bass, so go up your alphabet. Next letter up is C. So that is this space here. Now if we're adding a 3rd sharp, right? So we go up the circle of fifths a 3rd time, up to A, right? A major had 3 sharps, and to kind of go back to our pattern where we have a mirror right here in this D, right? And on the other side, so this was the sharps order, the flats order. So we know it's F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. So which one do we pick? Well, musical convention is to kind of take this. It's almost like you're going to just shift them up. Kind of like how you walk up here. Like what they tend to do with musical notes is they go a little bit backwards, but it's F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp. So these are the actual notes here that are written. And so with G sharp, just take note that you're going from left to right. So there's a little bit of space. Likewise, there's going to be just a little bit of space on this side. You don't want to pack them vertically, right? You want to let them space out a little bit. So that's a G sharp, right? The number sign, notice the horizontal cross hatching. It kind of hovers in this space. It doesn't touch the line. Now, just like so with F sharp, it's on the line. So the cross hatching, one of each line is sort of above and below. That tells us this is on F, right? So this is F sharp. And then here, because it's above, it's in the space that tells us it's whatever note is this space here. Well, the line is F, so the note right above that is G. But since this is A major and we have a G sharp, when we see this space, if I drew a note here on this space, right, that would actually be G sharp, so it'd be a black key. I told you when we started this that originally with no sharps or flats, when we just look at this, it's all just white keys, right? And that we were going to learn as we go, how do we start adding in the black keys? How do we map out the whole piano? We're going to work our way through the circle of fifths to see that. And when we're done that, we'll end this series on a chromatic scale. So a chromatic scale is really where you just march up in order. So these are called semitones. And in a scale, the notes you would hit in order of a scale are called tones. One thing you'll notice is like there's a pattern, right? So to give a major chord, a major scale its sound, it kind of has that happy sound. To give it that, there is a pattern of you'll notice to get from A to B, so it's 2 semitones. So you're skipping this note. Then the third note, you actually just went up. You went up another semitone, so you skip this C. but then you went up one semitone to the fourth one. There's actually a pattern. Every major scale, it'll follow that pattern of two semitones, one semitone. And you can walk up each thing. That's kind of an interesting thing. I'm sure we'll dig into that at a later point. But the idea is that when we just go up using the key signature like this, those are called tones, right? And as we do each key signature, you'll find a way to sort of see how every black key is written as a sharp or a flat of a given key signature. But you know, later on when we're done with that, I'm going to show you how you can just take any note, like say take an A. And if you just wanted to hit this black key where it's the left to the left of A, well, that would be A flat. Okay, so a flat actually looks like the letter B, except you kind of squish it in. You know how like the note goes from the left up to the right? You kind of squish the letter B's curl thing a little bit up to the right, just like the note. So that's called flat. That would be how we right away can get any black key, either as a sharp or a flat. So for now, we've got A major. That was what I wanted to do today. Just like with yesterday, you just look at the notes. Okay, A is right below B. So the nicest place to write it is probably right here. We're going to have to go up and hit a ledger line. We'll see that here, actually. But, you know, it wouldn't go to the lower A, because you'd have to find the lower A, well, here's middle C. It would be two lower, so you'd have to, like, start two ledger lines. You'd have to start here and go up and hit this. So that's a little extra. Ideally, avoid the less ledger lines, the better. So let's just go A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and then finally we hit the top A. And that's an A major scale. Okay, so we saw D major, we didn't have the sharp, or sorry, D major. Yeah, D major. What am I thinking? Okay, I'm thinking of D sharp because the next key, if we go up the circle of fifths, takes us from A to E, and that would have, well, there's a pattern, and we can trust this pattern. Well, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, the fourth sharp, D sharp. So you would actually have this one here, right? This line filled in. So notice the crosshatch above and below this line, which corresponds to D. B is home base for the treble clef, so the D is the two notes up. It's the second line here. So then we can do a D sharp. We'd find a D and we go up D to D, and we would know every time we hit an F, a G, a C, or a D, it's always sharp in this key signature. We'll quickly do that next time. I'm gonna leave it empty on here, but I'm gonna leave this key signature in. And actually, next time when we come back, it's gonna be like this. For the most part, though, a lot of time I'll erase this and redraw it, because every time you see me redraw it, you can practice yourself and get used to drawing these and seeing how they are all spaced out. Okay, so anyway, I hope that this has been a good lesson, and I'm now going to go back to my practice now that I've taught you something. I hope you have a good Sunday. I hope maybe you find some music that has that's in A major. You can even just Google pieces in A major, and up will come many things, various difficulties. Pick something simple, depending on your level. But if you see pieces in A major, well, you're going to see a key signature with those three sharps, and you can practice reading music that has that in there. Or if you have a little board like mine, you can write that out and play around a little bit. But the big thing is just start to get used to how to take this map and read it on the piano. Okay, have a I don't know what I'm I'm trying to come up with a good end line here and it's not working. So yeah, see you next time.